So the reason I'm here is to learn. And I am learning something from Miss Anya Lundberg. She has graced us with her presence today, and I
Very
appreciate you. It's good to see you.
kind of you to ask me to join you today.
Thank you. Uh, and you're here for a good reason, because you're smart,
Mm, thank
you're
you.
talented, and you have a story to tell. And
Which one?
well, so what is the one you think uh, people would most relate to? What's the biggest paradigm shift in a sense, you know? So Anya is from East Texas. She sang classical music all the way around the world and then back to East Texas again. I like that. You made a big circle.
I did.
Opera, oratorio, church music, choir directing. Music took you all over the world.
It did.
And you landed in Long Island, New York for a while, and that's where God taught you what a ministry is.
Right.
I am very intrigued
So
by that.
the reason that I married my husband is one of the reasons, I guess, is because we were both raised Episcopalian, and he was the first Episcopalian I'd ever dated.
Episcopalian, is that somewhere
Church
in
of
Europe?
England. No, that's the Church
Is
of.
that like near Romania?
No, it's actually near London.
London, okay.
Where the Queen and the King is the head of the church, actually.
Gotcha.
But so he had the same politics and the same religious ideas, and he was very
Okay.
faithful and very. So finding someone who was very spiritual was important to me, and traveling around the world with him, I got to a point where I got really tired of not knowing where the bathroom was at 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
It's
because you
the
get
little things.
It's the little things. And so you want one key. You don't want to have to figure out which key goes into this door. You want your key. And it
You
just
wanted
got
to be
tiring.
home.
I did. I wanted to be home, and we wanted to start a family. And so it was time for us to find a residence on Long
How
Island.
old were you roughly?
I was 27 when I got married and 32 when we had our first apartment on Long Island. We had matching suitcases. We traveled. We bought matching Samsonite, the big, giant,
yeah.
hard ones.
Right.
Yeah, two of them.
Did they have wheels or no?
They did.
Thank
They
goodness.
were new. That was a new thing back then. Not the spinning wheels. That would have
Right.
made life a lot easier
Right.
with opera scores and your entire life in a suitcase. But we traveled for 5 years. And then we got to Long Island, and I was working for Cablevision Systems Corporation. I don't know if you have to edit that out.
Yeah.
They owned several networks, movie networks, and thank you, take my glasses off. Movie networks, and they also owned television stations and some other big venues and important places in New York. And I was working in their corporate offices, and I said a prayer. I said,
Right
if I
there
have
in the movie studio?
no, at the administration and the secretary's desk.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
the receptionist desk.
All
I said,
right.
all right, if I have to do this, God, I can't not sing. That's going to make me crazy. So help me figure out a way I can use my voice. And it was a really interesting thing. A lady walked up to us in church and said,
How long after that?
not very long, like maybe weeks. She came up to me and she said, she was a friend of both of ours, and she said, I'm supposed to help you. An angel told me I'm supposed
What?
to help you.
An
Yes,
angel?
An angel, right. And so I went, oh, okay. She said, how can I help you? And I went, well, gosh, it's funny you should say that. I was just praying about singing and finding places to sing. And I was thinking about sending out bios and trying to see if there are churches interested in hiring a soloist. So we sat down and we put together 100 packets for all the Protestant and Catholic churches in the immediate area on Long Island. And if you understand, there's a lot of churches on Long Island.
Yeah.
A lot of Catholic churches, Methodist, Presbyterian, Lutheran, you name it. I put together a list of 100 churches.
And sent out a resume to everyone.
Resume, cover letter, recommendations.
And this woman helped you.
And my headshot, right? And this woman helped me do this, and we were struggling. So she said, don't worry about it. I will do it. Just give me what you need. Give me the addresses, and I'll take care of it. And she did.
What do you mean take care of it?
Mail them, copy them, put them in envelopes.
Promote.
Just basically help me out. And so we did that. And out of 100 churches, one church responded. Just one. And it was Christ the King in Comac. And the music director called me and she said, I want you to audition. And I said, okay, that's fine. And I sang a song. And she said, I was just checking to see if you actually had been a cantor because it said that on your resume. And I'd done that in undergrad for extra cash. And she said, that's a really hard song to start. And I said, well, but I know it. And she said, I know. You're hired. And it started out as, I want you like maybe once a week to come in and sing. And about 2 weeks later, 2 of her other cantors quit. So there were just 4 of us. And the other one had an issue, so it was just me. So I ended up doing about 6 to 8 masses a weekend.
Ouch.
And I guess I was, a few months.
Be careful what you wish for.
Exactly.
From 0 to 6 and 8 a weekend, that's like what, every couple hours.
Plus I was working full time.
At the other place.
40 hours a week with an hour and a half commute, and teaching voice lessons 2 nights a week.
You did sleep in there occasionally?
Occasionally. But I went in and I guess I was griping about it to my husband. Just, thinking, can't believe I'm doing this. This is, and he just looked at me and he said, you know what? It's a ministry. And I went, what are you talking about? Ministry. I'm just doing my job. I'm just going in and doing my job. Well, a few months later, I lost a music director. She retired. Another music director came in and I thought, I'm going to need another church because I'm going to get fired. Right. I'm going to get fired. Well, I picked up another church, and it was a similar situation where I had sent them my resume, and the new music director called me and said, I want you to come in. And these churches were 3 miles from my house in either direction. So out of all of those churches that sent...
Could have been all over
the island in like a 25 to 40 mile radius. They were within 5 to 6 miles of our home.
An angel, you say.
Yeah, exactly. So then I ended up working for 2 churches and having a baby and then getting laid off, which is always fun when you have a newborn.
Right.
And then I said, all right, God, now what? I can't go back to the office. My husband travels all the time. I can't be a mom and work full time. I have no family. We are on Long Island. My family is back in Texas. What am I going to do? And the next thing I knew, I had the funeral cantor she graduated and went on to teaching.
Funeral cantor.
So
and
in the
define cantor. No, most of us don't know what the hell a cantor is.
Exactly. So in the Catholic liturgy, a cantor it also means ride a horse in a certain step. But in music, in the Catholic Church and in the Jewish faith, it's also called a song leader who leads the religious liturgy in song. So whenever there's something that needs to be sung, a lot of Catholic churches will have a song leader or a cantor who comes in and does this. And I'd been doing this for quite some time. Well, Maria got her degree and got a full-time job. And I had a newborn at home, and I had the opportunity to sing all the funerals and all the weddings and then become the music director. And that was the point where I was really resisting the whole idea of ministry and where it was taking me.
So you you still hadn't thought of it as a ministry yet?
I did not think of it.
So let me ask you this. So is the paradigm shift when you actually did decide it was?
No, it just sort of evolved. And I really resisted. And God is funny that way. He will just nudge and nudge and nudge until he has to smack you,
right?
Right upside the head.
Sounds like a good dad to me. He's
right.
a good dad.
He
That's
is.
the way dads are
so he just
to
pushes
be.
you, and puts things in your path that happen. And I had thought, gosh, I wonder if I could, pick up some work being a choir director. And they needed a music ministry director for the children's choir. So I ended up doing that. And that grew into a music ministry where I was training young cantors and working for the 2 churches and the cathedral and solo gigs and doing this full time.
You wore that little car out, whatever car you were
I
driving.
wore a Volkswagen Jetta out.
I could see it.
And it drove all over.
How many dents did it have in it?
None.
What?
None. But I will say that the grill underneath the hood, the plastic part.
Where you pull up?
Yeah, it was gone.
Pretty well shredded.
Pretty early on. Pretty early on. But I learned a lot. And I really learned to open myself up when I sang, and that was important to me. It was something that Mark had always said that he did, and when you're, when the music is really hard to sing and it's low, because I'm a soprano and all of that stuff is in the lowest part of my voice, I had to learn how to sing it well and to basically breathe on pitch, because you also don't want to distract when you're singing the liturgy. You want to
breathe on pitch.
Right. Nobody wants to hear an opera singer singing full opera glory, oh, nobody wants that.
As a cantor.
Right. They want it to be easy to listen to and to draw you into the worship. And so I learned how to do that.
Like it's more of a team player than the lead.
Right.
More of a rhythm section.
You don't want it to distract from God. You want it to be part of the worship and not, oh, wow, she's singing,
Yeah.
So I did concerts, I did solo gigs, I did all kinds of fun stuff. And
you got paid the whole time.
I did. I got paid, and I was a stay-at-home mom. It was a beautiful thing. I could take my kid with me. If I didn't have childcare, the nuns were always really happy to hang out with him. So that was cool.
Okay, so that sounds really good. So sounds like an angel.
Yeah.
God answered your prayer.
God answered all of them.
That's pretty amazing.
All of them. And then up jumped the devil. My husband passed away.
There he is.
Right.
We knew
right.
he was coming.
He was coming. And
your husband passed away.
My husband passed away. My son it was 3 weeks before the first grade and 3 weeks after my 42nd birthday.
First grader. Holy moly.
Yeah, 6 years old. And so it was, and here's the other irony in this. He died on a feast day in the Catholic Church, which is the Feast of the Assumption, where they believe that Mary, the mother of Jesus, was taken up into heaven. So I thought that was very interesting for a good old Protestant to pass on a holy Catholic day.
Oh, okay.
He was also born on another one.
So, okay, well, maybe he was definitely written in the stars, that one.
Definitely. But it was...
Was he a good guy?
He was a good guy, very faithful, very kind, a beautiful soul.
Yeah.
Very beautiful
that's
soul.
Good.
And it was really when it all hit home was when I announced that I was leaving and moving back to Texas.
What
and
caused that?
My father passed away.
Oh, another one.
Yeah, another death. And it was time.
It was time.
It was time before he passed away, and then he passed away.
Gotcha.
And so it all kind of happened all at once. So, and that was when the church went, and they kind of gasped when I announced that I was leaving. So, and that was when it really hit me that I had spent 15 years in ministering and watching them get married and watching them have babies and burying their relatives and watching their parents get sick and pass and really being an integral part of their life without really being in their family. But it was an interesting thing to realize how much of an effect that I had had and how it truly had been what Mark had said all along, which was a ministry. And it was very interesting.
So you yielded yourself.
I did. I had to.
And God used you in a powerful way.
Mm-hmm.
And you did have a ministry. And and back to your original point is that the music has such an effect on us.
It does.
And you saw all of that.
I did. And there's an old saying.
On Long Island.
I did. And Long Island is a very faithful
place. A Lufkin girl. East Texas girl.
Poor little girl from East Texas just stuck on Long Island.
On Long Island, baby.
Eating bagels.
Yeah, all day long.
All day long. But there is a very interesting thing.
Pizza. You probably ate some pasta.
I ate some pasta.
Yeah.
I ate lots of good Italian food.
The food's good up there.
Oh my God, the food is delicious.
So good.
It's so good. Yeah.
So if I was to go to New York, you would recommend a culinary tour.
I would have a list of all of my favorite restaurants that are still
You
working.
gotta hit this one. It's on the side. Now don't turn left. Now this is a
No.
one-way street. You
Keep
gotta go
going.
around the back.
Keep going. Yeah, and there's vineyards at the end of the island too.
Oh, yeah.
So you
Okay.
could go to the vineyards too. But there's a lot of fun stuff there.
Last time I went to New York one time and I about got killed. So I'm not.
There's a joke
went
in
by
there.
Myself, you know.
There's a joke in there.
Yeah, what is that?
No. What did you do?
I turned right when I should have went straight.
Right. Well, that can also get you into trouble.
That's what I'm saying.
But I was pretty sure maybe you opened up that East Texas accent.
No. I was just walking around and took
Yeah.
a right and should have went straight. So.
You know, God is God is wonderful, because I was partying on
What?
New Year's Eve, walking without my heels on Canal Street in New York City, which is not a great place to be for two young single women. And after 2 bottles of champagne, and nothing happened to us. So God protects you sometimes.
In New York. So, this would have been maybe 1985, 1986,
Mm-hmm.
talking about God. And I was totally against God at this time. When I took that right,
Yeah.
I was walking down this dark street, right? And there's cars lining the
Right.
street all the way down.
Right.
Well, it's kind of dark. I didn't pay no attention. I'm trying to go from whatever street to the next street, 'cause I'm going to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Nobody had ever heard of them. They were just coming
Yeah.
out. And I said, well, let me go check this out. And so I'm looking at my map, classic tourist, at night it's Halloween, right? So the crazy going on. Took this ride. I'm about halfway down this little dark street, and I noticed a group of things. I don't know if they were human or what, on the other side of the
Mhm.
street, still not snapping. They split up, still don't know what's happening. I saw the first group cross in front of me. Now
And
it
now
dawns.
they've got, yeah.
And I turn around and look, the other group's crossing behind me. I'm dead. I knew at that moment that I
Something was
fixing
about
be
to
dead.
happen.
You know what happened? A cop car came by at that exact second, going
Right.
really slow.
And that's how God works, though.
And I didn't know, but looking back, I see.
Yeah.
He had his hand on me. That's just a second. He goes, okay, now get on through.
So when that happened, what did that make you think about God?
I didn't think about God at all. Only looking back years
Yeah.
later. So I would have been 20. I probably didn't get Jesus till I was about 30.
Wow.
Yeah, so it took me, and then another 10 years to start realizing, looking back, how many times.
See, there's that nudging along, pushing you in one direction or the other, just gently guiding you.
I'm just wondering if I was in New York at the same time you were on Long Island.
No, I didn't move there till 1990, January of 1990.
Well, I didn't mean to interrupt your story.
No, it's quite all right. It's
But
quite
I
all
thought
right.
it dovetailed a little bit.
It did, because faith is so important, but also God has a plan,
I wonder if the angel that had his hand on me was the same angel that
You never
visited
know.
you. Anyway, because
You
we were
never
from
know.
Texas, it'd be the Texas angel that hangs out in
There's
New
got
York
to be more
State.
than one in New York,
You
because
think?
there's a whole lot of Texans in New York.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was 4 from my graduating high school class
Wow.
at the same time.
So you got home.
I did, and I did not want to come here. I would have done anything not to come here. And then
But Dad died.
Dad died,
Your husband
and
died.
my
You
son
had a brand
needed.
new baby.
My son was 12 at the time. It
Oh,
was
12. You
6
said first
years.
grade, I thought.
Well, when Mark passed, he was 6,
Oh.
and then when my dad passed, he was 12.
12.
So it was 6 years in between each loss, and it was
Right.
Dad's loss was a bigger loss, I think, to him in a lot of ways.
To your son.
Absolutely. And it was time for us to move back to East Texas. And I had a 93-year-old house. 94. She's 94 this year. And, that's something you can't
The
have.
house? You
Yeah.
said the house?
Yeah. She's graceful.
You're kind of quiet.
Yeah, yeah.
But your son, so he connected more with your dad.
He did. Well, his dad passed when he was 6. And
Plus,
he
he was gone
traveled.
all the time.
He was gone all the time until like the last year, and then he was sick.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time. So it was, it wasn't the same as going to Texas and hanging out with Papa in the summers.
Yeah.
And-
Well, a young man, he needs a male figure. He does.
Well, they were 2 peas in a pod, the two
Oh,
of them
yeah.
anyway. So
Okay. So was that your paradigm then, coming back here? Or was your paradigm, or was your another paradigm, you came back and then you had to take over the family business?
It was me saying, all right, God, I know I got to move. I know that this is not sustainable any longer on Long Island. He was getting ready to go into middle school. It was time to, figure out a different way. I couldn't have sustained my music business, and still drive him to Boy Scouts and all the other stuff I had to do.
I got you.
So it was time. And then that's when I said, it's okay. Where now? where do you want us to go? And Dad got sick and passed. And it was then when I looked at my son and I said, looks like it's Texas. And he went, yes. So
He was glad.
He was very excited about Texas.
I bet he
Well, he
was.
was a typical little boy. He liked to fish and hunt.
Get out in the
And
woods.
that's right. And there's not a whole lot of that in
I imagine.
suburbia.
You can't do that in Central Park?
No, but you can do it in Suffolk County on Long Island,
Oh, okay.
but you can't do a lot of it. And there's some, it's not the same. It's not, maybe 10 acres, not 500 you can
Yeah,
turn
yeah.
them loose on.
Right. So y'all got a pretty substantial situation over there in Lufkin. So you had a lot. I mean, you had a lot to do when you got here.
I did. Clean out a house.
Arranging your dad's affairs, probably.
Right. Learning a business.
You have a brother.
I do, but he worked in Houston at the time, so it's not like he could drop everything and come in and learn bookkeeping and learn, how to read a lease. That's fun. When taxes are due and all that other fun
Right.
stuff.
So at this point, what would you say that your greatest lesson was, if you could say it in a sentence? If that's even possible.
Trust.
Trust.
This one word. Faith is all about trust. And faith is scary sometimes.
So you found that you were able to trust God?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just got to let go.
Let go.
And not know where the bottom is, not know where the end is, not know where the destination is. Wherever you're going, you have to let him be the driver. So
Jesus take the wheel.
that's right, but that's scary because you don't want to let go, right?
Right. You don't. Especially men. I can understand how maybe a girl could do that easier, but we're control freaks,
Right.
And letting go is very difficult.
Definitely
Especially
harder.
when we know everything. That's when it's you got a problem when you know everything and you're stubborn.
I'm afflicted with both of those
Oh, yeah.
as well. So, there is that.
All right. So trust, and then with that is humility.
Yes. And sometimes God doesn't, do it in a direct way. Sometimes it's just you keep trying one direction and you just keep pushing it over and over again.
Keep pushing.
And you
That's
end
a Bad
up.
Company song.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll trust you on that. But you keep nudging forward and you're just not getting anywhere. And
Did you say nudging?
I did, nudging.
Okay.
That's not an East Texas word.
It is. It's just we say it a little different here.
Well, in New York,
We
it
say
kind of means
nudging.
right, but in New York, it kind of means the squeaky wheel.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It sort of means like you're the nudge. You're going to ask the question.
Oh, it might. So it's instead of NU, it's NOO.
Well, it's spelled the same. They just say it weird.
Okay, the nudge.
Right, you're a nudge.
So yeah. Okay. See, I'm learning something every day.
See, now you're learning all the words that you can go to Long
Some
Island.
slang.
Right, and you'll be fine. Give me a bagel.
Give me a map.
Yeah. You don't need a map anymore. No, it's all on your phone.
Oh, it's on the phone. Yeah. So you can blend in. You're looking at
Exactly.
a map, and you're not looking at a map.
Right, so you can blend, as they say,
Say it,
blend.
blend.
You're going to blend. It'll be fine.
I bet you hung out with all the old crusty ladies.
I did. I had a
All
lot
the-
of,
the
especially in
fine
the sacristy
to-dos.
behind in church. There was always a bunch of Italian ladies, and tell me about it. Oh, are you talking to me? Yeah. And people have asked, does it look just like Ray Romano, and in that All About, was it Everybody Loves Raymond, that show? It does. The houses are that close together. I had a lady next door who was, very interested in every time I left the house and came into the house and what my dog was doing, what my son was doing. And she was because she was 20 feet from my door.
Oh my gosh.
That was her kitchen window. So she was she was a nudge in another way.
Ah. So nudge is broader than just.
Oh, it has lots of
Irritating.
meanings. Exactly. So what was your nudging moment? How did God nudge you from that incident to where you are today?
My nudge,
Yeah.
it's very clear. It's a very specific experience, and it was over a period of time. Right? It probably took from the time I was born. I can remember the battle, not knowing that was what was happening, the
Mm.
battle for my soul. But looking back, I see it. But no, I was in a recording studio in Georgia, and I was just trying to mix my latest tune, right? And this the engineer, he was a Jehovah's Witness, and he asked me how life started. Well, I went to college. I took biology. What the hell are you talking about? Oh, I don't know. Lightning struck a tidal pool, and there's some magic proteins grew out of that, and life. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, I'll never forget these words, and my whole life has turned on the concept of water. He said, water dissolves things. And something happened in my brain. I could see it. What I was saying, lightning struck and things came together.
Right.
But water is an acid which
Right.
separates things.
Huh.
And when that little click happened, well, I was on fire. I had to know if evolution or special creation, God spoke 6 days, if that happened. And from my study over the past 30 years, evolution is impossible. It is not possible. Everything cannot come from nothing. Special creation is the only. The design is so clear, you have to have a designer.
There has to be a catalyst.
That's right. Nothing is not a catalyst.
Right.
So
I don't know if you're aware of this.
Anyway, I'm interviewing you.
I know, and I turned the tables on you there for a little bit. But in all of the churches that I've sung in, especially Catholic churches, if you go in and look, the stained glass windows, they're always beautiful.
Right.
They will have an element of water in them because every part of the religion involves water.
The baptism.
Mm-hmm.
When the soldier stabbed him on the cross, blood and water came out.
Right.
Washing of the water, the
And
word in the water.
We're coming up on Easter, and and I had to learn all this stuff the hard way. There is the whole Holy Week is a very big week in the Catholic Church. I think it should be a bigger week in
Easter.
every church.
Easter.
Less about the birth of Christ and understanding that his role and his purpose, in my opinion, and what I've learned. And you can feel free to disagree with me, but the whole point of Christianity is his death and resurrection. So for me, and for a lot of people who think of it that way, Holy Week is very important. So every service is like a 3-hour service in the Catholic Church. So Holy Thursday in the Episcopal Church, it's Maundy Thursday, or the Anglican Church is the same thing. In the Catholic Church, it's Holy Thursday, and that's when they do the washing of the feet. So I've worked with people who are Orthodox Jewish people, and one of the ladies I worked with, they're not allowed to have marital relations until they go to a rabbi and get blessed and go into a holy bath. And so it's like a ritual bath that's part of their marriage. It's part of their faith, but it's part of their monthly ritual as they go for this special prayers with the rabbi, and then they take a bath, and then they go home, and they're not allowed to cohabitate. And it's a very interesting part. So water is part of that faith as well.
Yeah.
Baptism is part of Protestantism.
Well, but Christianity in general.
In general. So it's not just you. Water is part of all of our faiths.
Oh yeah.
At our
guess
basest element, it's part of us
I
too,
never
right?
thought of that, but then
Yeah.
fire's in there too. So.
Yeah, exactly.
All the elements, air.
Mhm.
The devil is the prince of the power of the air. So I guess that's his realm.
Right.
But then
Right.
the earth. What is the earth? Where does that fit?
I don't know.
We'll think about it. So, how does it end? How does the story end? Well, how do you sum it up?
How does my story end?
Yeah. I'm just saying. How does from then until
To here.
now?
Well, I'm in a really interesting part of my life right now because my husband had daughters and they're grown. They're raising babies. They're all married. They're all happy. They're all doing really well. It's really awesome to be able to sit back and watch that and to have had a small part in that, even from the sidelines, as I used to call myself Wicked. That was my name, Wicked Stepmom.
Oh.
Just call me Wicked.
I can't see that.
No, it was an old joke, a very old joke.
With
But
the kids, they
Right.
rebel.
Exactly. Well, also as the stepmom, and that's an awkward position to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have that, and then my son is 22. He's getting ready to graduate from college. Everybody's doing great. And I'm getting ready to look around and go, do I really want to manage properties for the rest of my life?
Now what?
Maybe I want to do something else.
Back to singing.
Maybe I need to find my voice in a different way.
Yeah.
So that's where we end up. And we have to let God help us figure that out.
Well, he's got you this far.
He has. He's taken really good care of me.
I will bet that you've got something good ahead of you.
I hope so.
That's what I'll bet.
Yeah, just getting started.
The angel, when the angel showed up, it never did leave.
Mm-mm.
I'm thinking.
Angel is always around. There's
Yeah.
always been an angel around.
Faithful angel.
Mhm.
I feel better.
Do you?
I do.
Well, good. I do too.
You have enlightened and encouraged me.
Well, that's a good thing.
It is.
That is a good thing.
I appreciate you coming and hanging out and doing this. I know it's
Well,
not.
it's interesting.
You're in show business.
I saw a microphone and
Yeah.
I saw cameras. I did get excited just
Here
a
I
little
am.
bit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, y'all. See you later.